Am I the idiot for telling my daughter to give up on her dreams? Basically, I am a doctor who graduated from one of the top med schools in the country. Because of this, I know what it takes to make it as a doctor. My eldest daughter is also on a medical track. She goes to a top 20 school and is excelling. She is a junior and will probably get into one of the best med schools next year. My youngest daughter is not like us. For my eldest daughter and I, math and science come more naturally. It's not something we need to work hard at. My youngest daughter, however, really struggles with these topics. In college, she has to study for her STEM classes for hours and hours just to get the average grade at a school that's not very difficult. My daughter, to her credit, is a very hard worker and I admire that. However, that hard work could be placed in a field that she can really excel in instead of being a doctor. She will always struggle in med school, but she can take her talents elsewhere and become an amazing law or business major. The drama is that she called me yesterday and told me she had trouble getting accepted for an internship and asked if she could work with me this summer. I basically told her she should reconsider the medical profession because she spends all day studying and she is barely average, and I don't think she can succeed as a doctor. But I reassured her that it's okay and she can find something else to shine in. On the phone she was really quiet, and I ended the phone call with "I love you." After this, I have my eldest daughter, ex-husband, mother, and siblings spamming me and telling me to apologize. Youngest won't even pick up the phone. I understand that her feelings may have been hurt, and while that's valid, I think tough love will help her in the future. For example, it may have hurt her feelings when she was younger because I wouldn't let her eat cookies for dinner. But as a parent, you need to protect your children, even when it hurts them in the short term. Update. Hello Reddit. Some people asked for an update on this post, so here it is. I considered writing it closer to our initial reconciliation, but I'm glad I didn't, because this situation became bigger than I thought it would. My daughter unblocked me so she could call me, and she ripped me apart almost as harshly as you guys did, telling me I never believed in her, that I think she's an idiot, etc. I apologized profusely and told her that I didn't realize the damage I was about to do when I made my comments, and promised that I would support her in her journey in any way possible. I asked her if there was anything I could help her with to make this journey less difficult, and told her I'd find an internship opportunity with one of my colleagues. The conversation was pretty heavy on both sides. The two of us couldn't stop crying. But it seemed like after my apology, we were in a better place. Despite still having reservations about her ability as a doctor, I was going to try to support her. Well, the semester ended and grades come in any day now. Last night, she sat me down, practically in tears. She told me that she wanted to prepare me, but she was going to get an F in a class. I was literally dumbfounded. She told me she was caught cheating on a test. She basically blamed me. She said after our conversation, there was too much pressure on her, so she caved and sneaked a whole sheet of notes into her test. That F, combined with an academic integrity violation, basically ensured that med school won't be an option anymore. When I found out, I was less angry and more extremely distraught. I apologized for putting so much pressure on her, but told her that being a doctor sincerely isn't worth losing her integrity. She told me that a part of her realized I had a point during our first conversation. She likely would not get into med school with her current grades, so she tried even harder to achieve her goals, studying longer hours, using supplemental books, doing endless practice problems. But when she kept getting below the mean on her orgo practice tests, she tried it with notes and got above the mean. She thought it would be a foolproof plan. This is definitely not the update I wanted to give to Reddit. Thank you for understanding. Update 2. My older daughter found the post and read it. She called me and was extremely upset, and told me not to feel bad for my daughter. Apparently, the reason my daughter was getting subpar grades was because she wasn't putting in the effort. She'd call me and say she spent hours studying and doing problem sets, but really has been partying her ass off and buying study sheets for tests. As I'm writing this, I'm dumbfounded and I can barely believe it. I don't believe it, to be honest. I'm going to approach my daughter and talk to her about this. Not sure if I'm updating again. Update number 3. Daughter and I had a long talk, and it's a doozy. So her freshman year, she actually put in effort. She was trying hard, so those hours of studying weren't a lie. However, she had a very traumatic life event that she did not tell anyone about, and spiraled after that. She stopped caring about her classes, thinking she could easily get a job as a doctor via cheating. She did illicit drugs basically daily. When I called her, she realized her lifestyle wasn't sustainable, as in she could not become a doctor and would have to put in effort to achieve that goal. But she wanted to continue her lifestyle, so she got caught cheating. She told me she doesn't even have a passion for medicine anymore or anything. She is just numb. She says it's easy to be happy around her family, because we only see her for a short period of time. But she had been hiding her whole life in sadness from us. To me, this sounds like severe depression. We will definitely be going to individual and family therapy. No idiots here. But Opus, be warned. I'm the smart child in my family. I always got good grades with very little effort, and excelled at most things that I tried to do. I have my own set of problems, but intelligence and test taking has never been among them. My brother struggled with school and tried so hard. He worked 10x harder than I did and still only got mediocre grades. It's been hard on both of us, me being held to a higher standard and him feeling like a dumb failure. We're in our 30 seconds now and he is struggling with alcohol addiction and mental health issues. He will never feel like he measures up and there's nothing I can do about it, and my parents are still so hard on him. At this point I'm pretty sure that no amount of validation and love will bring him back. Please make an effort to treat your kids the same. It's painfully obvious in your first post that you favor your smart kid and it seems like the kid you're posting about is spiraling. No idiots here. This is so heartbreaking to read. Opus, I know you probably had the right intentions in the first place, but I feel for your daughter. The path to becoming a doctor is so grueling, but it sounds like she gave it her all. Maybe it would have been better if the system crushed her dreams and not her own parents. I hope you are both able to grow from this experience and that she finds her path. Do you blame the parent for what happened to this poor girl? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for wearing a skirt that makes my BF feel uncomfortable? So, I've got this nice thick pipey knee long skirt I like to wear when I can outside of work. The only downside of the skirt is that when I completely bend over you can see a bit of underwear. We were going for a walk and I wore a skirt. At the point of leaving, my boyfriend, male 24, says I don't want you to wear that skirt. It makes me uncomfortable. Change PLS. I asked him why I can't wear it and how it makes you uncomfortable. He got mad. I asked and told me it just does. Then he said we're not going unless you change. I felt bad but I changed into jeans. He had a comment about the jeans as well. Every time he sees Chloe from the show Lucifer in her jeans he cringes because it makes him feel uncomfortable because it is so tight. This was my one day off this week so I really wanted to do things together as he always says we don't get much time because of work. I had a fight about it with him that it came across as controlling for me. He told me I didn't validate his feelings and that I could have been a good partner and thought him this might make him feel uncomfortable. I'll just change for him as a gesture and that I was selfish for not considering his feelings. Reddit. Am I the idiot for wanting to wear my skirt even though it makes my BF uncomfortable? Edit. This was last weekend and a few other things happened that day too. I broke up with him. He came to me in the night crying. He never cries and told me he was sorry and he acted out of insecurity and appreciates I changed for him. He suggested couples counseling. He made an appointment for Friday. Apart from the relationship stuff, it was more me asking myself if I didn't validate his feelings. I was a bit like you can talk about how you feel and express, but not act on it. I also had a bit of a it's not my problem attitude. That's why I'm asking update. So, it's been plus 2 months and I figured some of you might want to see an update on the whole situation. First of all, a big thank you to all those people that gave me advice and were the lovely judging people of Reddit. Without a doubt that Am I the Idiot made a difference for me, so thank you. Again, I'm not English so hating on my grammar or vocabulary will be there for you grammar freaks. Just a heads up. Long story short, we broke up, I moved out and I'm so happy now. I know it's normal to read and it will always go this way but ignorant me always read these posts thinking, no idiots here that ain't gonna be me. Here we are single and all and never felt better. Now the longer version. After the skirt thing he made a few other comments and I had it. I broke up with him at the end of May with no idea what to do next, just emigrated to this country while living together. We went to therapy where he got told in his face that he was an abusive and controlling a $sign hole. And if he truly didn't see any of that he could be diagnosed since they thought it might be autism or high-functioning Asperger's. It was bad. I cried a lot during therapy and tried to open up to her about the situations and not knowing to go on because he didn't mean it, right? When she was out of the room he called me a crybaby, again as a joke. Later that night he also told me he knew about all of my Reddit posts and that he could see everything. So most likely also this one. After the second session where they told me 2 individual therapists. He will not change and I do not want to sign up for a life like this with kids etc. They see it so much and if I had a way of preventing this future I should for my emotional well-being. I moved out 1.5 months ago on my own, made some new friends and started looking for new jobs. He tried to contact me several times and we did talk sometimes. It would always go that he told me he had changed and can see it now but my love was long gone. I told him I didn't love him anymore but he kept pushing until I blocked him. He told me he was having panic attacks, was suicidal and whatnot. He needed someone to talk to, but that someone wasn't me. Just having normal people around me while I'm wearing my skirt and doing my things without negativity is just a big breath of fresh air. It's so relieving I can't tell you how much I feel like myself again and most of all, not crazy. I'm doing hobbies, sports, therapy and whatnot but I'm happy. In the few moments this month I did feel lonely. I sometimes texted him back but ended that completely too and just reread all of my situation with him. 32, within a year and a bit. Apparently he also cheated on me with his ex telling her that he wanted to marry her instead of me. Her ass was way better than mine. I had to work out more to earn a compliment according to him. So that was that. No more Mr. I'm sorry I didn't mean it that way. Thanks for anyone reading this. If you are in a situation with a partner and you doubt yourself or question yourself all the time by things he says or does, please listen to that gut feeling because you aren't wrong or a bad person for thinking it and it tells you more than enough. Not the idiot. I'm so proud of you for getting out of that situation. Most people don't realize how hard it is to get away from an abusive relationship. They break our wills and our independence. But I'm so happy you got out when you did. Stay strong and give your bunnies some extra love. Was this boyfriend being manipulative? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for ignoring my stepmother in front of her boss? So I have been living with my stepmother and dad for the past few months. I really dislike my stepmom. She is always insulting me for things that aren't fully my fault, like being socially anxious, and she doesn't treat me like a family member. She also refuses to use my real name, because that's her other, older, kid's name too. She calls me by my middle name instead, which I absolutely hate. I told this to her 1,000 times, but she just doesn't care. Yesterday I went shopping with her for groceries. After we got out of the shop and walked over to the car, she noticed her boss a few cars away and went over there to talk. After a few minutes of me awkwardly standing by the car, she shouted to me to go there and introduce myself, but she, as always, didn't use my real name. I decided to ignore her. I hoped that she would realize her mistake and correct herself, but she kept shouting my middle name. She gave up trying after a while and said goodbye to her boss very soon. Needless to say, she was extremely upset. She remained silent while she was driving home, but I knew that I won't get away with this without a big argument. When we got home, she basically exploded. She was shouting at me for like 20 minutes about how I embarrassed her in front of her boss and that I'm immature and childish. My dad also took her side. He understands that I don't like being called by my middle name, but said that I should act like a grown-up and know better than petty revenge. Are they right? Was I acting childish and should I apologize? Update, so I talked to her. She said that she didn't realize how much I hate my middle name, and that she doesn't understand why I care so much. She also said that she's willing to call me by another name of my choosing, but not my real name, because that's her other daughter's name. I'm not saying that I'm happy with this, but it's still better than my middle name. Sadly, it's impossible to make normal-sounding nicknames out of my real name. I'm sorry that I can't answer everyone, but thank you so much for all the advice and support. I will try talking to my dad too when he gets home. Update 2, they are now arguing. Update 3, so, after the post, I had a long talk with my dad. I told him how much I hate my middle name, and that I deserve to be called by my real name. Thankfully, he listened to me for once. He agreed that it's disrespectful towards me and promised that he'll try to peacefully convince my stepmom. Well, sadly it didn't go as he planned and they ended up arguing about basically everything, not just me. I didn't want to eavesdrop, but I overheard some things. It was mainly about the kids, money, my dad working too much, my stepmom not working enough. And I suspect that my stepmom cheated on my dad or wanted to cheat on him, but I'm not sure. After a few days my stepmom left without a word, and now she rarely comes home. Her relationship with my dad is probably over. I just feel so guilty, because it was me who ruined their relationship. I just wanted to be called by my real name, but now they broke up and they both hate me for ruining our family over this minor thing. Not the idiot. Jesus Christ, your stepmom sounds like an absolutely horrid woman. I'm sorry you feel bad about it. It's definitely not your fault they argued. It's on them for getting an argument out of such a ridiculous situation. Personally, I would try not to feel bad about the relationship ending. By the sound of your description, they weren't having the best of relationships in any case. Also, that she treated you in such a way is bordering on emotional abuse.